Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is Dark Horse Season 2, Episode 3. And the name of this episode is Chasing the Main. This was a really good episode, and let's just say this episode definitely had me laughing, but it also got my wheels turning because a whole lot of shit is starting to add up. So let me begin. The episode opens up where, Derek is doing this monologue where he talks about his independence, that he is now like Diana without the Supremes, and, he makes his own rules and he's setting himself apart. And then he also chimes in, it's like, and y'all stop asking me about Neil. Neil was crazy as shit, and at the end of the day, one of us was going to end up in a body bag if we would have continued to be together. So yeah, so he kind of let it be known that, yeah, him and Neil are done. Then we get a scene where Derek is talking to Jesus. And he's talking about, that his past is somehow affecting his relationships with Stephen and Reggie. And he actually confessed to Jesus that he used to be an escort. And he was saying that, I realized that within this current situation, I kind of like normalized hookups, and he talks about how Reggie said that, that Derek was treating him like a client, and he said that, it kind of bothered him that he said that because it triggered something that, I'm kind of carrying these relationships the same way I carried my clients when I was escorting. And of course, Jesus asks, is that where you met Daniel? And he said, that's exactly where I met Daniel. Yeah, because, Jesus and Victoria had their way with Daniel, because I thought he was dead, but all they did was got out his eye and he's Popeye the Sailor Man. Woo woo. Okay. But yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about him later, so let's keep it moving. And of course, Jesus like talks about Aunt Vicky and how Aunt Vicky is giving him a whole bunch of shit. It's like nothing he does is never good enough. And Jesus, and then also Derek talks about. Sorry about that, y'all. As a matter of fact, let me mute this because I don't want nobody distracting me while I'm doing this review. There we go. Okay, now that we got that going, praise the Lord. Also, Derek in this conversation also talks about, that he wants to start going back to therapy. And also Jesus, when mentioning Aunt Vicky, he says that she's always comparing me to you and all of that. And then, we see that Derek has his little, his little, confessions where he's like, why the hell you complaining to me about it? I'm her son. What can I do? But he said that, look, based on the situation that you're in and the stuff you got to do, I say you're doing a good job because I don't think I could deal with the things you deal with on a daily basis. And then he also says Jesus mentioned Uncle Vinny's back, and he hasn't seen him since he was a kid. And then all of a sudden, that damn Derek's a mess, because then we see Derek in his confessionals talking about, have you ever went to a family reunion and you saw that fine cousin that you wanted to tell him that he was fine, but you didn't because y'all cousins? Well, let me say this. Jesus looks real cute when he pouting. I'm like, if you don't take your ass on with your bullshit, Derek, you better not do that shit. Vicky gonna beat your ass. You better calm your hormones. So then I'm gonna talk about we see Sean. Sean is actually on a date with Kayla, and Kayla's trans. She's pretty, but we already see that something's up with Kayla because he was saying that, she damn near fell on her ass from drinking. So it's like she can't handle her liquor. And we see that, they do have some good chemistry. They went to the movies. And he pretty much said that, I remember I used to see you with Kiko, and I used to always notice you. And he talks about his relationship with Kiko, how he fucked up, and that he was escorting and all of that shit. And then and of course Kayla was like, that's it? I thought you said you was into drugs or something like that. And she admits that she used to escort as well. And eventually, she wanted to get out of that lifestyle, so she got with this agency, and that's where she met Kiko originally. um and she was saying that, well, Kiko really wouldn't understand because Kiko's mother took care of her, so she never really had to go out here and sell her ass for money. Sean, you're somewhat right, but then you're also wrong, because at the end of the day, she also instilled her to be independent and work, because that's what she was doing, working at the beauty bar. Yeah, her mother helped support her, but she was also working to support herself as well. Tiffany did, she did, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call it, I meant Tammy. Tammy did instill some great morals and values in her. So even though she was trans, she was able to make a career out of herself, not just from the help of her mother, but also because of the help of her best friend Mason. So there are a lot of people who also contributed to Kiko's well-being, and she was fortunate that she had the right people around her, where Kayla didn't have anybody. But they making it seem as if that Kiko had it easy. She didn't have it easy either. And she had the right people around her where she didn't have to go down that road to support herself, selling her body. And we definitely know that a lot of trans get caught up in that life. I mean, if you watch, like Paris is Burning, or if you see this new show Poses on FX, we see that the actual, lifestyle of what, trans women had to go through, as far as their survival and also maintaining their own sanctity. So it was a good conversation, but then he lets Kayla know that he got into escorting because he lost his job and he needed the money. But she lets him know that, look, get in and get out. Don't get sucked in to the point where you feel that this is your only mode of surviving and you can't break away. But he's saying that, well, the thing is, I moved on, and I moved on to bigger and better. I'm like, don't move so fast, Sean. She may look good, but just because something looked good doesn't mean it is good. So we still, the jury is still out on Miss Kayla, because I'm wondering, Kayla damn near busted her ass, so I'm thinking Kayla got an alcohol problem, or better yet, is there something else going on? Because when Sean made the move that was trying to, get intimate with her, she kind of cut him off and said that, oh, I got to get an Uber, I got to go. So I'm like, damn. So it's like, okay, the antennas are up about Kayla, but Kayla is gorgeous though. And definitely, shout out to Elena Ramos, who plays the role of Kayla. She definitely did a great job. And, I'm definitely, in it to see what's going to happen with her. So then I'm going to talk about now Steven and Derek. And this scene was so funny because soon as Steven came in, we see Derek went behind him, was like, is everything okay? I'm like, you were so mean. Because we know from the last time we saw Steven, he actually bottomed, and let's just say he made a really big mess. A huge funky mess. Where he was literally painting like Jackson Pollock. And, if anything, he kind of brought it back up, and Steven was like, come on, I already feel bad enough as it is. But we actually see that there is some chemistry there between Steven and Derek. And Steven is a little bit younger than Derek. And he likes Steven because he kind of sees where he was then and wished that he probably would have made wiser choices, at that time. But he said at the time I was acting on impulse and I made a lot of bad decisions. So he is trying to instill the fact that, don't think that the world is just like this big oyster, but the world can be cruel, and you'll have people that come into your life that will bring more bad than good to you. And we've definitely seen this, with Derek throughout season 1 of Triangle all the way up to this point of all the different situations he's been in, including escorting. So, but also a great thing too is that while also Sean is I'm sorry, we also see that Derek is also trying to make moves on Steven, and Steven keeps rejecting him, saying that he's not ready yet, and he wants to make sure that there's something real before he takes it there. But of course, that damn Derek was talking buku shit like, bitch, you want a cookie? Like with your shitty pity ass. I was like, oh my god. And he's like, because in his mind, like, Derek is really trying to top, and Steven ain't ready to go there yet. But he does like Derek, and they do have great conversations. They start talking about, do you think Trump will be reelected? And he really starts talking about, how much racial division is now in this country because Trump has been elected, and also about Hillary Clinton. And so they would like talk. They were really having like a really, really deep conversation. And the thing is, Derek is intrigued by him, but then again, Derek is also longing to put one in somebody. And I'm just saying that how long will Derek go without topping? How long will Derek go? Because it's to the point where, Derek is getting kind of like frustrated because he really wants to get it in, but Steven is still trying to take his time. But yes, that whole scene had me rolling because this is like the aftermath after that happened. But oh yeah, so what else happened? Oh yeah, so that pretty much was what happened with that scene. So we see that there's still a connection between Steven and Derek, even though they had that, messy situation in episode 1. Alright, so let's move on. Then we see that Derek goes to see Dr. Chase. Now, this whole time, we like when we seen Clint having this therapy session, he's in Dr. Chase's office. But then we come to find out that when Derek went to go see Dr. Chase ain't there. And I'm not surprised because she also knows that, old boy killed her brother. So right now she's probably on a rampage to fuck somebody up. So she ain't at work right now. But guess who's in the damn office? Damn Dr. Rose. The same Dr. Rose that actually canceled Brandon and Jabril, through their marriage. Also, the same damn Dr. Rose who was one of Jacob's clients in season 1, and his ass tried to get crazy and was trying to take the ass from Jacob. So immediately he noticed, he's like, oh, Jacob. And he starts getting very sinister, starts saying that, you need to, like, I knew you would be back. He's saying that, first of all, I ain't here to see you, I'm here to see Dr. Chase and all of that. He's like, well, you walked into my life. And he's like, look, I don't do escorting no more. They ain't a part of me no more. And my name ain't Jacob. So he's like, you're never out of the game. So let's fuck. And he's like, what? He's like, you hurt me. Let's fuck. And, Derek pushed him off of him. Was like, yo, back up off me. And then he's like, I missed that pretty black ass. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker is crazy as hell. And they always say that those psychiatrists in most cases be the most crazy than out of everybody, and he's really showing that crazy side. And it's funny that I remember seeing him in season 1 of Dark Horse, but I totally, missed the connection when I saw him on Triangle Blue Velvet. But now seeing him back on Dark Horse, it immediately brought back that memory. Like, yo, I remember you was one of Jacob's clients. You were the Mary Closet case, and you wanted more. You wanted more from Derek, but then you didn't want to pay him more money. So then we also get a scene between Sean and Bambi. Now Bambi is very feminine, but he's gorgeous. He invited Sean to hang out with some of his friends. So he's kind of getting the feel of the gay side of life, and and he says that Sean says the main reason why he's attracted to Sean. The reason why Sean says he's attracted to Bambi is because Bambi's confident, and he's not afraid to be himself. So he finds that as a turn on, and we see that they have to get it in, and Bambi was trying to top Sean, and Sean was just like, yo, what's up? He's like, yo, don't give me this bullshit, because he also mentioned that because he's femme, a lot of guys only want to deal with him in private, but in public they want something else. But then he also admits that I'm verse. Please don't, tell me that because I'm femme, you have an issue with me topping you. But then he was like, nah, nothing like that. It's just that you need to just kind of take it slow on me or whatever. And he's saying that, shoot, I'm a guy that like ass, and you got a nice one. And Sean does have a nice ass. Woo. Hey, I'm an ass man. I second the motion. So then they finally start to get it in or whatever, and then all of a sudden his phone starts going off, and we don't know what the hell is going on with this. But he checks his phone, and he tells Bambi that he gotta work, and we pretty much kind of put it together that it's Daniel, because after Bambi leaves, Sean actually talks to the audience, and he lets it be known that, look, I like Kayla because she's fine. I like Bambi because he's sexy and he likes to get it in. But my mission is to get out of Easton. Ain't shit here for me, and ain't nobody holding me back. I'm getting the hell out of Easton, and yeah, this motherfucker I'm about to go see probably ain't shit, but he got that money. And he better have all that damn money, or I ain't doing shit for his ass no more. And I mean that shit. And I'm like, okay, I'm loving this new Sean. And I'm loving how Sean is coming into his own. So then we actually see that Sean does have another session with Daniel's crazy ass, and then Daniel's like, oh, you're 2 hours late, boy. What's going on with you? And Sean ain't playing. Sean is like, where the hell's my money? He's like, ugh, money? Is that all you want? You know what the Bible says, that money is the root of all. Like, it's so fucking convenient how bitches uses the Bible to coincide with their BS. Like, you just using it as a convenience for you to do some fuck shit. And then he gives him a $100 American Express gift card, and then he gives him this Russell Simmons piece and says that, it's worth a lot of money. So he was like, so he's like, okay, so now fuck me. And then tell me why the hell, what is up with this child that when he having sex, he like to sing gospel music. So now he's riding Sean singing Amazing Grace. And he's like, yes, fuck me harder to make me sing. Make me hit those notes that saved a wretch like me. Oh my, this child. What the hell is wrong with this fool? I can't. And he was just doing the most. And then this asshole, after they have sex, he starts asking Sean about, so what was he was like, what's that girl that you was talking about? I used to date this girl, but now I'm dating a girl that's just like her. He's like, just like her? What do you mean by that? She's a trans. He's like, oh, you mean a man? Like, no, she's a woman. A woman with a penis? God doesn't like that shit. And he was like, man, you don't know what the fuck you talking about. You need to stop. He's like, oh, so I'm gonna ask, since, your woman had a dick, did she fuck you too? He jacked Daniel's ass up, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if you want to do that, Sean. I mean, we seen how Daniel get down. Daniel on that crazy shit. Daniel's like a thief in the night. He takes you and he'll lock you up in that basement and be feeding you nasty spaghetti. You don't want to fuck with this fool, and then he pretty much, Sean was like, man, that's your problem. You don't know what to say out your mouth. You ain't nothing but a pathetic faggot. He's like, don't say that about me. And he's like, and you crazy as fuck. He's like, don't call me crazy. My mommy says that I am special. He's like, no, you pathetic. And that's why you gotta pay niggas to fuck you, because don't nobody wanna be around your ass. And he's like, well, fuck, like, and he's like, fuck you. Won't you read Leviticus 10 and 20? Won't you read Leviticus 10:22, and then we can have a conversation, you dumbass nigga. I was like, oh no, you not, Daniel. I get tickled every time I see Daniel crazy ass, because Daniel just don't know when to stop. Oh, and one thing that I also want to notice is that we see that Clint is having another session in Dr. Chase's office, but later on we find out that, yeah, the whole time he was talking to Dr. Rose. It wasn't Dr. Chase. But in this, he talks about his upbringing, growing up in the projects, being raised by his grandparents along with his two sisters, Monica and Ronnie. And he was bullied growing up, and he was laughed at, and he had issues with self-esteem. He talks about Ronnie being a selfish bitch, and that, she was always about getting her come up. But he said that she's dead to me because she literally stole all my money. And, and if anything, she's like, she just robbed me as if I was a fucking stranger. Like, I meant nothing to her. And then he talks about his sister Monica. And she says Monica is a writer. She's a stand-up. I always will respect Monica, but I did her dirty. And even if she never talks to me again, I will always have respect for her. And then he talks about how his silver tongue and his platinum dick got him everything. Because he says that when he left home, he promised to never look back, and he used what he had to get what he wanted. And he says that, yeah, there's some disappointment. There's some regrets because I did wrong a lot of people. But he says, I will not be kept down. And, but she says, I will not be kept down. And I will not be sidestepped. So, and he talks about Derek, and he says that Derek, I let slide. I let Derek slide because this fool shot me 5 times and left me for dead, and he never paid for it. But he says, I did use Derek though. My associates lured him into the life, but hey, he was able to support himself. He was able to make money. And he says that, look, all people have gifts, some physical and some physical and some mental. I happen to have both. And then he talks about Ashton. Because you saw in the very first episode, he didn't want to talk about Ashton whatsoever. So Ashton is a very sensitive subject, and he actually confirms in this session what we all knew as to why he went after Ashton the way he did, is because he was in love with Ashton. Ashton was somebody he truly loved, but he hated. But he mentions that, I cared about him and I loved him, but he let my ex-wife get into his head, Fallon, and then he said, and even worse, he let punk ass Winston get into his head. But the thing that pissed me off the most, he let Winston into his heart, because before he had drugged Ashton, he was trying to tell him everything bad about Winston. Him and Clint had sex, but then he kind of blew Clint off. It's like, hey, I gave you what you wanted, you can get the fuck on. So that passion that he used to have for Clint was no longer there, and that's why he drugged him, and that's what led him to do all the shit he did with Ashton, in regards to that. And he was like, look, I wasn't I didn't put in all that work to come out of it with nothing. And, you know, and he says that, you know, so yeah, I used him like a pawn, but unfortunately, he was a pawn to a lot of people, even his best friend. And I'm like, yeah, that's true, because, you know, Ashton did go down for shooting Clint when Derek was the one who did it, and Derek said nothing. Just like how Rob is sitting in jail for some shit that Derek did, and again, Derek said nothing. So all of a sudden, we see that damn Dr. Rose is like, interesting. So, tell me more about this, Derek. I'm like, oh, you sick bastard. So he's already drawn the narrative that Derek and Jacob are one and the same. So we're going to see what the hell Dr. Rose going to do down the line. But that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. But subscribe to my channel. Well, first, subscribe to brtbtv.com. I have that link right there in the description box. Subscribe today and get everything BRTBTV. And also, check out the Triangle Fan Club on Facebook, where you get everything Triangle. You get comments from the fans, interactions from the cast and crew, as well as updates from the creator himself, Caesar Williams. Also, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And first, also let me shout out to Patrick Coleman, who plays Dr. Rose. I definitely love he's a really good actor. I definitely love him in this role. Also Elena Ramos, who plays Kayla, and also Laquan Dawson Jr., who plays Bambi. You know, great additions to the cast. And also Adam Davenport playing Daniel, because he always gets me laughing. And also, you know, Demarcus Monroe and Terrell Ross, and of course Emery Johnson. You guys are doing an excellent job, and I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen next, because I'm really here for Dark Horse. So until next time, everybody, take care.